What's good? Today we're going over a 400-meter game plan. This same game plan helped me run a personal best of 47.20 seconds in the 400, and it's a game plan that many of professionals follow. So let's get started. The 400-meter runner is one of my favorite races for many reasons. It really requires guts, it's determination. It's one of the hardest races in track and field, and we're about to find out why. So in the beginning here, you want to have a nice stride phase. You want to remain patient. You want to accelerate up to top pin speed. So for 90-ish meters here, we're going about 90%. There's like this whole race is a little bit of experimentation. You're only going to run your best after you've tried the 400-meter runners a few times, because one time you're going to get out too hard, die at the end. One time you're going to get out too slow, not be able to make up your difference between the other runners, and still be fresh at the end. So it's a mixture. You're going to have to find a balance of the right way to get out. But I found that like going for 90 meters here, towards going for 90 meters at 90% speed is the best way to start. Now, you're going to be the most nervous running the 400 out of all the other races. And your adrenaline is actually going to carry you like 60, 70 meters in this race. Your adrenaline is going to keep going until you're, 5, 6, 7 seconds into the race, at which point you're going to begin remembering. You have to remember your game plan. You have to remember to be not conservative, but not crazy in this beginning here. So once you reach that kind of 90-ish, I use the relay triangle passing zones as a mark, or like the other numbers that would be here for the 300 meters. I use those as a mark to know that we're now in this backstretch relaxed portion. So I teach people that this portion is like, you worked hard to gain your speed. So why would you slow down? You do not want to slow down, but you no longer want to keep pressing. If this doesn't make any sense, I think picturing a car is great, where you have a cruise control. You're on the gas, you get up to a certain speed, you hit cruise control. You're not slowing down, you're not going faster, you're here. So you want to take that effort that you spent into gaining speed and put it into opening up your stride. You want stride length down the backstretch. You don't want to lose your speed, but you want your stride length to make up for the stride frequency to make up for the energy that you're not putting into your stride frequency. You put it into your stride length here. You're going to have nice, big, open arms. You're going to be relaxed. You're going to be breathing because you're not even halfway yet, right? So this is like the no man's land back here, where you kind of are like, okay, I still feel okay. At this point, you're like, I have to do the same thing over again. I'm now at the halfway point, 200-meter mark. And like I say, I like to split up the turn into two portions, uphill, downhill. So this uphill portion is really a grind. I mean, in preparation for your 400-meter training, you probably should have run some hills, things of that nature. Whenever, you had to dig down deep and find out how to push, this is what you do on the uphill portion. You kind of make ugly faces and you kind of hate your coach for making you run a 400. You question why you're running track. That's all good uphill, but you don't stop. You keep grinding. Your nice open strides should begin to kind of, shorten up a bit and become a mixture of stride length and stride frequency again. And then once you reach here, this 150 mark, I like to tell people that like from here through the rest of the race, now you're back to your like, up here, you got to curse me out. You got to question yourself why you're doing this. But once you hit here, you're no longer questioning anything. You're now the fastest person in the world. You're Usain Bolt, you're whoever, Sha'carri Richardson. Now you're running downhill because we already split up the turn into uphill, downhill portion. And this is where the stride frequency begins to come back, right? So you ran uphill, and as you run downhill, picture yourself running downhill where you slowly are just, that turnover is getting faster, getting faster, getting faster. You still have a good stride length. You're not compromising stride length or turnover anymore. And now we have the finish line. The finish of the race. So what you should know is that at the beginning, you're going to be staggered, right? Depending on what lane you're in, you have a staggered start. No matter what lane you're in, you want to either be ahead or even with people here at this 300-meter mark, because there's no more turns to make up the distance that you were given on a stagger. So you have to be even right here. And I like to teach people the whole race, Like, let's say I'm in whatever lane this is. I want to be able to just reach out and touch the person in front of me, but I don't want the person behind me to be able to reach out and touch me. That's my guide of like, okay, I'm doing all right because I'm going to make it up here, or I'm going to be able to at least know I'm close enough right here, right? If I know the person outside of me is super fast, I'm just going to use them as a way to drag me along to a faster time. If they're super fast inside of me, don't let them catch me. So as I finish here, everyone's tired. Everyone's dead. Doesn't matter. And the 400 is interesting. You're going to have 100-meter runners. You're going to have 200-meter runners. You're going to have 400-meter runners. You're going to have 800-meter runners. The 800-meter runners might, have more endurance here. But in my experience, I personally, Usain Bolt is a great example, would rather have the person with more foot speed. I'd choose the person with more foot speed over the person with better endurance, because no one's able to make it around here without some hit on their endurance. So as you train, just remember foot speed for the 400 in particular is more important than endurance, although they're both important. So here I'm grinding it out, right? I tell people all the time, you did all this work with your legs, your arms they've been there. Your shoulders have been forward, your arms have been moving, but they haven't had to work as hard as your legs. So the finish is about arms. It's digging deep. It's getting the arms going. Your arms are going to do whatever you want your legs to do. They're always matching each other. Your arms and your legs are always in opposite of each other, right? Boom, boom. So for the finish, if I want foot speed, which is essentially turnover, right? You want to combine your turnover and your stride length. So I'm going to be open but fast. Boom. That's kind of how I want my arms to be, because my legs, they're dead. They feel like cement bricks, but they're going to have to match my arms. They don't have a choice. It's just the way our body is built. You don't want to get back here, have the monkey on your back. You want to stay forward. You want to stay up tall. You don't want to feel like the track monster has you. Boom. Power all the way through. Finish. And again, the way you get better at 400 is by getting better at the 200 and the 100 meters. That's the only way to get better at the 400. So I'll see you in one of those videos where we go over those game plans.